tweezers or a root hook or anything like that to just fill in the space. So we'll go ahead and overfill the area. Take our tweezers and we'll just kind of agitate the soil, and we'll get it to fall down into any open areas that may be around the trunk. The biggest, that's why we put the mound of soil in the start, is to go ahead and get rid of some of that open space, but then you always want to go back in and see if you can get the soil to settle a little bit more. All right, now we're back. We have watered the tree in. You can see the soil didn't really settle at all, which is a good sign. Our next, and really what I was wanting to do today, we're going to look at the top of the tree and decide roughly what we want to do in the future. So I'm going to, as I discussed at the beginning, I don't know how many videos this is going to be because I know it's a lot of footage, but I kind of want this to be a broom style tree. I don't know if it's going to be possible because of the way that the branches have grown. So I'm going to leave two options. Alrighty, camera died, so I'm going to use my phone for the rest of this. Apologize if the sound or the video is not quite as good. But where I was before the camera died, we're talking about where we want the front to be. And so I had two options. One would be roughly in around here, and what we would have here would be this becoming the new leader, and maybe running it up in here, and trying to run it back with this being the first branch. Alternatively, on the other side, we can try to create a broom style from here, 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 possibly. Okay, so what is not in the design for either of those are going to be these, what you could call suckers, and a couple of these other branches. So I'm going to remove those and kind of clean up the picture a little bit so that hopefully we can see it more clearly. I'll need some of my branch cutters. Let's see if I can do this without knocking anything over. Alright, so we're going to have several little wounds to heal when we get done with this, but that's fine. It'll happen. It won't be a big deal. It'll add a little bit of character to the tree. So I'm going to remove a lot of these that are not going to be part of the future of the tree. Let's see, we don't need this. We don't need this really, because that's really too low even for a back branch. If we wanted a back branch and we use this other side as the front, we can use one of these. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. And then once I've done this, I'm going to go back with these, and we'll cut it close and more cleanly. So let's see, let's start with the bigger And we really want this to be closer in because these will callus and be kind of noticeable. So if I can't get to them with this particular tool, which I may be able to, let's see. It's a little better. And if we get the bottom of this, a little bit off of this. So I have a, let's see, this may be better suited for these small knob cutters. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and then the question is on this larger one, we probably want a little bit inward, so like maybe like this. And the hope is that this would callus over a little more cleanly than if it were to be sticking out. And really I should probably get rid of the callus in between the two, but I'm going to leave it. Okay, then I'll do the same right here, clean up this knob. Trying to get this a little clean, a little more clean. Okay. All right. Go ahead and cover those with cut paste. Come out of there. Okay. We'll just smush this in to the cavity, and then we'll kind of use our thumbnail to get rid of the excess. That doesn't have to be perfect. Just needs to cover the wound. And then get that out of there. I'll get this one up under it. Okay. Again, as long as you're covering the wound, if it's over the edges of the wound, it's okay. It'll peel back as the callus forms. So I'm gonna make sure you've been able to see this the whole time. I don't need that much. Okay. So we've got our little cuts covered. We've eliminated what we're not going to use in the future. So we're gonna now do it the same on the other side. And one thing we've got here is this really big callus that was from the removal of the root graft on the other side. And I mean, it calloused over well. It just sticks out. Now, the question is, you can remove that, you can clean it up, or you can leave it as sort of hollow. I'm not sure. For right now, I'm going to leave it because I'm not sure. However, I think it will be better suited because it does protrude a pretty good bit. It'd be better suited to clean it up. I might do that in a minute. We will see. Alright, so from this side, again, we're not going to be using these suckers. So I'm going to remove them, and then once we've got them out of the way, clean this up. I'll go back to using these small knob cutters, I think. Like this. And then, let me zoom in just a little. Angle it so maybe you can see a little better. And we're going to try to get this flush with the rest of the trunk. And even maybe slightly concave so that the callus or the scar that forms will hopefully be pretty even with the trunk line. Okay. And I'm trying to get one good cut in the middle here, but it's kind of hard to grab. We may just have to be content with that. Gonna repeat for this one. Go in about like that. That one is pretty straightforward. And we'll go under a little bit. Like this, and then you're left with a nice spot that should heal pretty smoothly. Go ahead and put some cut paste on it. See if we can swipe off some of this excess. And we'll slap it on right above it. Okay. Now, this little, I'm not going to cut into that, I'm just going to get rid of, if you can see that. Can you see that? This little guy right here. I'm going to leave the little knob. It's small, and it may add a little interest. But I am going to get rid of these little suckers. Like that. Alright. So that's good. So now we have a cleaner image of the trunk, and we see we could use, like I said, sort of right in here is the front, and it's kind of hard to see when not at eye level, but we could have, you know, the nice base and have the tree run up right here, and then maybe cut back up. And then on the other side, we had the option of maybe possibly I don't know. See, this may be dead. Using this and this, and if we do it, we could use this as well to make a broom. That's something to consider, because I really would like this to be a broom style. You can't force a tree into a style, but you can nudge it in that direction. If it's not the right style for the tree, forcing it is going to make it look unnatural, but we'll kind of try to play with both options in mind. And I'll take a lot of looks. I'm gonna probably off camera take a bunch of time and kind of look at it and see if I think that's something we could do, because looking at it now, could possibly do something like, I'll raise this up a little bit so that I can get it at eye level. You could have the trunk something like this, and then have those branches we talked about as the broom style, and that would work well. So what I'm gonna do now is, I do believe this one is dead all the way down, but we'll leave it just in case. I'm gonna clean up the original chop wound, and so I'll kind of peel this off just so I can see the live edge. And if you look at the kind of where the bark is starting to peel right there, you get a really good idea of where the tree's died back to. So you see I could actually pull some bark off. So it's very obvious where the dieback went to after I made the chop. So I'm going to cut down this all the way to that dieback, and we'll see what we've got from there. This is interesting. It looks to me like the top of this branch may have died and the tree's covering from the bottom with the callus. Very interesting. I'm going to kind of peel away at this bark because it is dead, and it'll give me a better idea of how I can cut this. It looks to me like it's going kind of around and up right in here, and then in between these two it has died, and you can actually see the callus under the bark. If I remove the bark right here, if I can get it, you can see right in here there's callus up under the bark. So zoom out, and we're gonna take some chunks out of this dead wood and kind of see if we can get this started towards healing. Just taking one more look at it before I start. Let's take a pocket knife. Where one is. Use this one. And I'll just kind of poke at the bark around here and just kind of see what's what. Looks to me like this dieback is kind of in an unusual shape. A lot of times it'll be more or less linear at some angle, but it looks to me like it's kind of circled around. I think this is dead. So we're actually left with just a couple of options if we wanted to go in the way of a broom, unless we could get something to pop down here. Alright, so I'm going to begin cutting back to where this callus is already formed, and then kind of go down slightly from that so that the callus can roll over easily. So we will start. The only question I have is right here. I don't know how that will be alive. It really does look to me like this branch has healed from the top, and so I may give that a little more room just to be safe. All right, let's start. I know I have another tool here somewhere that I need. There we go. I'm gonna zoom in on the top right here, and we will get to work. And as opposed to one of the other trees I worked today, this dead wood seems pretty soft. The other I was trying to work, and the actual wood that was dead was more difficult to cut than the live wood. Alright. I'm going to just start by going around and removing the top few millimeters that we know are dead. Probably a little bit of a large chunk to take off at once. Shouldn't have to force it like that. Okay. I just need to figure out what might be alive and what's not as I go here, because I don't want to have limited options up top. I do not want to cut off something that might be viable. That's dead. However, I don't know about that. The callus goes right up to this little branch. I think it's dead. It's definitely dead. Just leave it alone. Over here, we've got to go way down in here. You can see the bark just peels off, which is fine, because I can, if I'm gentle enough with it, I can peel it off until I find a callus, and then just cut to that callus. And there won't be any guesswork involved. It looks like right here. We're just going to cut like it is right there. I don't see, I think the callus is just below where the bark is there, but I'm not 100% sure. And as well, here, there we go. Now I've got a clearer picture. So you can see, I'm going to leave this bark actually. What we're going to do with that, while I'm thinking about it, is the top of this branch did die. However, it stayed alive and it started to callus. So hopefully I can cut these little tiny obstructions off. Just barely nick it, and maybe I can get this to callus all the way over the top and it'll be as good as new. That would be nice. So let's remove the bark from it. We'll just be careful with how we cut right here. Okay, that's a little bit clearer on what we need to do. Come on. There we go. Alright. I'm probably going to block the camera some here, but sorry. Gotta get in here. And what I'm doing is just really right now cutting to where we have live wood, and it may not be as ideal as we would like, but you really don't want to cut too far on something like this that's already had dieback, and you're in a situation where you've got a branch like this that's really being supported from the underside. So I'm just going to try to clean up the dead wood at first, and then we'll see if maybe we can sculpt it just a little bit. This wood is pretty soft. Let's see if we've got a live edge right here. Okay, so this bark, I can clean this out right down here in this little V is alive. So I'm just going to cut slightly down into there, and then we should be good as far as on the outer edge where we need to be. And then we need to cut the inside down a pretty good bit so that we can get it to heal over. Okay, let's see where we go from here. This little thing off. I am aware that this may not be the best angle, and you may not be able to see perfectly what I'm doing, but all I'm doing right now is removing dead wood from the top and trying to get it down into a place where this callus that we've got around the outside can start to heal and can start to roll over without being obstructed. It's a lot harder for that callus to go up and over than it is for it to simply roll over wood that's already there. If it has to go up and over, or if the wood around it is uneven, it's going to slow that healing pretty significantly. And this is the part where I want to be real careful. I don't want to take off too much because I'd like for this, specifically on this branch, to roll over very smoothly. So I'm just going to kind of remove a little bit off the top and then leave it alone. And this is just so hopefully this branch can heal. Okay, and that should be good. We started to get live wood right there, so that's good. Alright, let's go back around. Let's look what we've got. I'm going to take a peek at the... Oh, that's the wrong way. At what we've done so far. And as you can see, we've really just gotten rid of the extra wood down to where it's died back. And something that we might consider if we are looking for a broom style tree is if you have ideally you have more than two. That's not great, but what you can do here to make this look more natural is we would notch kind of a V right here in between these two branches, and then as it grows that will callus over and it will begin to appear as if it naturally split there, as opposed to just having these two growing out of the side of the tree. So if we decide that we want to pursue a broom, and I may do it anyway just because we'll cut a little V right down in here. Alright, oops. Let's finish with the dead wood. Okay, we're getting there. We are making progress. Now, gradually, what I'm going to start doing here is trying to create a little concavity here, and keep in mind that we may use this as a new leader, and so maybe that might be the first branch. And so we want a little bit of a slope to that if we can get that. We may not be able to, but we're going to try. So we'll just start with a little bit of a divot in the middle, and then we'll kind of extend it outwards towards the edge where the callus already started to form. This is kind of an arduous process, but it's really worth taking the time to make sure that you do it right, because it will make a big difference in how it heals and really the overall health of the tree. Okay, we still need to allow this callus to, like I said, roll over instead of having to grow up and over. So I'm also going to try to get it on these edges where it could possibly, it could possibly start to roll over a little more easily. I'm just envisioning if this tree grows a lot this year, which I would need to put it back in the ground. I'm kind of trying to picture as I go how this callus would roll, and then try to kind of match what I'm imagining to how I'm angling this, you know. It is very windy, I apologize. But, alright, seems to have passed. So if this grows heavily, it's going to start callusing from this side over this way. If I allow this to grow, it will callus here and start to go that way. So we kind of have the general angles right. I do want to remove a little bit right here, so that if this does begin to callus that way, it can do so without much resistance. I don't want to cut any lower right here. I just cut the live wood for this branch. If I cut too low and remove that, that branch is just going to die. So I'm going to stop right there. That's as far as I can go. I'm going to the sides here. And remove as much as I think we can. And let's see. Take some out right here. The really difficult thing here is getting just to the edge of the callus without damaging it, because I really don't want to set the tree back any. So I don't want to harm the callus if I can avoid it. Now you can slightly agitate the edges of a callus to get it to kind of restart the healing process if it's stalled. What I'm talking about is just actually cutting away some of the callus. I don't want to do that. All right, I think I'm almost done. Just a few finishing touches to try to smooth it a little bit. I'm just trying to give it a really close look. Okay, I think I'm about done. Okay. Okay, I believe this is about as far as I can take it. Just removing a little dead stub that's going to get in the way of this healing. Okay. Alright, so that is about all that I can do. What we're going to kind of wait and see now is how the tree starts growing in the spring. I'm going to leave it in my greenhouse where it's warm, so it may start to wake up pretty soon. But until then, I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to wire anything or do anything else that's more stressful to the tree because we've already kind of stressed it out enough. So I'll leave you with this. Alright, so I'll leave you with this. And yes, I'm going to seal the top. Oops, sorry. All right, now, I believe we're good. So I'm gonna leave you with this, a little shot of what we did today. And let me back you up just a little bit. There we go. So we have a couple of options for the tree for the future. We've made a few removals. We repotted it, we worked the roots, and this is where we stand at the end of the day.